Guys, don't do it to yourselves. Seriously, if you make this mistake, you're going to be climbing up a really steep mountain and you're going to be very disappointed that you would have failed your first business or yet another business that you've attempted. Now, the reason why I can give you this advice is because I have failed numerous amounts of businesses. I would say I've probably failed about 15 to 20 projects in my lifetime. The only difference is that one of them was a massive success, and that ended up buying me my financial freedom. Now, as I continue to invest and to build my future businesses, I am learning from the mistakes that I've made in the past. So there's no point you going and making the same mistakes that I've made. Right, so I'm going to cut to the chase here, and I'm going to be able to help you understand what businesses you should start, how you should start them, and whether that's the right kind of business for you. That's really important, okay? You can't just be a doctor that now all of a sudden is an expert in sound engineering and starts selling speakers. It's very unlikely. I'm not saying it's impossible, I'm saying it's a very unlikely scenario that you'd be able to do so. The reason why my investing career has gone quite well over the past few years is because I started my career in investment banking. I literally worked for UBS Investment Bank in the City of London, the guy wearing the suit with the pointy shoes, rocking into the office and learning about the financial trade and understanding how to trade markets and understanding how financial markets works. So when I made money, I was able to take that money and invest it in the financial markets in the right domains because that was literally part of my life growing up. And I also studied economics and business at university. So it was part of me. It made sense for me to naturally go and build an investment fund off the back of the money that I had made in the online marketing world. Now for you, do not go and start a business completely out of the blue just because it looks cool and you've seen someone else do it online. Oh, I've seen on X, these kids are launching crypto tokens. Oh, I've seen that someone's got this e-commerce store selling spirulina. There are millions of different types of businesses that you could start. I don't advise you go and find a new trend that just seems to be working online and all of a sudden you try and start a business the next day thinking that you're going to be successful. The only way that that's actually going to work is if you study that business for a prolonged period of time. So for example, if you do want to get into crypto and you do want to launch crypto tokens, you need to understand smart contracts. You need a developer on board. You need to understand marketing, how you launch with enough liquidity. There are so many different aspects you'd actually have to study, right? And going and doing a bunch of courses from a bunch of gurus might not be the answer to do so. You literally have to immerse yourself into the crowd that are also doing so. Immerse yourself in that business. Be around other people who launch tokens all the time so you hear those conversations. So the key thing you're actually going to need, and I want to reveal it here, the key thing you need to succeed in any business is an edge. The reason why I'm sitting here in the position that I'm in today, financially free, able to travel the world, able to do whatever really I want and work on whatever I want, which I'm extremely privileged to do so, and I'm very grateful for that situation, is because I had an edge, which I explained in my previous video in regards to how I made my money. I could see every Google AdWords account that I ever wanted to see because I worked at the company. So I had an edge whereby I knew something that you guys didn't. Now, some would call that insider trading, but it was a simple case of understanding the data, memorizing the data, knowing which niches and which markets are best, knowing what cost per clicks make the most sense. So upon me leaving that company and going and setting up my own, I then knew the right niches to get into. I then knew the kind of cost per click I needed to pay. I knew who my competition were. And therefore I had a specific edge, which then helped me to become a multimillionaire and to retire my family and to then live financially free, hopefully for the rest of my life. So for you, what I'd recommend you do, and don't go and start a business randomly because 95% of businesses fail within the first 3 years, I believe. Right? So imagine there's only 5% of businesses that actually left after 3 years. And then those may not necessarily be profitable. Most of them are probably break even, hardly making that much money, and you might have a very, very tiny percent of those which is really profiting majorly and doing very well. It's because they found a specific edge. If you go down your high street or you look online and you see the people who are making serious money, you'll notice that they have a particular edge about them. There's something which makes them worthy to have that business. Whether they be influencers online, whether it be high street retail shops. If you have a cool new concept and you believe you have some sort of edge in that market, right, which is why they talk about in economics competitive advantage. What is your competitive advantage? If you're just thinking that you want to copy and paste another business, fine, you may be able to do that, but you have to spend more money on marketing, which will eat into your profits. So if you are just directly going to go and copy some restaurant in your local area or some barbershop or some hairdresser, right, I'm going to copy this guy's style. You could potentially do so and you could still make money, but your marketing has to be better than that person, which means spending more money or doing better organic marketing, whether it be on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. But again, that requires money and a certain skill set, which is probably why a lot of people are learning about digital marketing and learning about how to advertise businesses online. Because if you know how to do so, then you have a specific edge and then you can start any sort of business and then your marketing is going to be solid, so you'll be able to make money. That doesn't mean that you've got a solid business necessarily, because your product also needs to be good, and a good product comes from someone who has a particular edge. When I look at the industry that I'm in, for example now, crypto algorithmic trading, I look at the ones, and they'll definitely be beating me right now. Right now they will, until I'll eventually gain an edge over them, is the quantitative traders who are leaving the big banks like the Goldman Sachs, the JP Morgans, who are leaving the hedge funds, who've already studied and built quantitative trading systems, who are now leaving traditional finance and applying it to crypto tokens where they can potentially find an edge. Because there's a lot of retail investors, a lot of youngsters, a lot of idiots trading crypto who don't know what they're doing. So someone like that who's experienced, who's worked for Goldman Sachs, who's worked for a big hedge fund, understands how quantitative trading works, would come and apply their logic to cryptocurrency and then be making a profit. That, my friends, is the definition and a pure definition of having an edge, because you've studied something and you've done something beforehand. So do not start a business unless you have some sort of edge over your competition. My edge in this world, in the algo crypto world, is the contacts that I have. The contacts that I have are some of the best people in the industry that have built some of the biggest quantitative funds on the planet and have worked for those people. So I have connections, and that is my network. So they can tell me pieces of information that will supersede the information you're going to read online, which will fast track me to success. So when I take pieces of gems of information over the phone and meetings over these people and with these people, me and my team can then build a better product because we have an edge, because I have the network. Similarly, with my YouTube channel, the reason why I can offer this sort of advice is because I have already been successful in business and I've already been successful with women. And therefore I have an edge over someone who's just created a YouTube channel, who's all of a sudden talking about dating, and you have no idea whether this person has ever had any success in dating or not. They're just all of a sudden pretending to be some sort of guru. You have to be awfully careful in today's world, because everyone is online trying to pretend that they know best to make money off you, right? I started my YouTube channel in order to help people just live better lives, help men live better lives, improve their lives. As I continually improve mine, I want to be on the journey with other people. I want a network. I want a network of powerful men who are also building like I am building. So don't start your business until you have some sort of edge. If you're going to copy someone, then your marketing has to be better. So make sure you've got an elite digital marketing team or a very good digital marketing agency that can help you. I personally don't have good experiences with digital marketing agencies because they have a number of different clients and never really were able to fully focus on me. And so their attention was spread across multiple clients. And so I personally don't like working with digital marketing agencies. Instead, I've now built my own team within my content. So I have a creative director who cuts up pieces of my long form and makes it into short form. I have a short form editor who specifically just edits short form and posts that. So I'll then have to find a particular long form editor. So I have to find those people that have an edge within their niche to work with me and for me on the business that I want to build. So consider what business you want to build. Don't go out there and start a business just because it's trending online. Oh, it's all of a sudden trending to buy crypto tokens. How many people do you know that actually became millionaires off buying crypto? The answer is not many. You'll see very few of them online and they will advertise themselves, while the rest of them just got absolutely burnt and roasted buying tokens and ended up with nothing. So most people in business will fail. Very few of them will succeed. You just think everyone's succeeding because everyone's just flashing themselves online these days. Before you start a business, think about your edge. Consider what edge you have. Consider your past and what you've done in the past. If you haven't done anything, that's okay. You can learn from scratch and start building your knowledge until you create your edge. You can create your edge out of thin air by studying the best and by reading. And I'm not going to disregard all the courses. There are some courses which can help you get up to speed with particular industries. If you're confused, you don't know what businesses to start, consult with me on a one-on-one basis. I can help you figure out exactly what business you should start and what's suited to you. There are a bunch of different tests and procedures that we could go through which will identify where your strengths lie and what sort of business you should start. I want you building something for the long term, not something which is going to last a few months and then crash and burn. You have to think over the longer term, which then coincides with your personality. What business suits you for the long term? Feel free to consult with me on a one-on-one basis. The link will be in the description below. We can discuss and come up with a good, solid concept for your business and then actually have a solid plan as to how you're going to execute that so that you won't be in the 95% of people that fail within the first 3 years.